is the next kind of. This is basically where you get to see some of the Redoran bug huts.
Now, the Redorans, of course, are the mighty warriors of the great houses, and they don't let you forget it either. And so they build their buildings out of these carapaces, these carcasses of these giant insects that used to live on Morrowind before the Redorans killed them all. Now at this point, they've been extinct for some time, and so they're building their huts in imitation of bug carcasses instead of using actual bug carcasses, because there aren't any more left. But you know, they still want you to know that they're mighty enough to kill giant bugs. So that's why they are proud to live inside their chitinous residences.
Beautiful, isn't it?
And you know, they picked like the most difficult architectural style to do, just to prove that they could do it.
With a damn fine crew.
So for you, anybody who's just joining us, I saw some questions asking if this is Morrowind. Yes, we are running around Morrowind. We're in Nissus?
So believe
right now?
me when I tell
the
you
only one
we
I know
don't
for sure.
like it.
Yes, in this one the G is silent, unlike in Dreg. In
Ah.
Dreg, the G is the only thing you pronounce. In Nissus, it's the letter you don't pronounce.
It's kind of like English language, just certain letters are sometimes not pronounced.
Like new.
Like
So-
most of them, if you look at some of the names.
And we are playing on our dev server, so we will be using some dev commands to hop around, and we've got Zeb and Lawrence here with us, showing us the influential factions of Morrowind.
Slippery is more like it.
So now we're going to show you the Telvanni area. Over on the other side of the island, on the eastern side, is Sadrith Mara.
Sadrith, not Sadrith.
That's right. Sadrith Mara. And the Telvanni, of course, are the reclusive and irritable wizard lords of the Dark Elves. And they like to live in giant mushrooms, because if you were a Dark Elf wizard lord, where else would you live?
The Nibbennians think they're
three,
slick.
these are all
Slippery
like giant mushroom towers with really no sign of anything, but you just assumed it was a big mushroom. But the art department and concept and Lawrence kind of, in looking at it, said, well, how do they get these things? You know, where did they come from? And so they came up with the idea that essentially they kind of, built a shell of, they built a tower, and then the mushroom essentially grows and becomes the overall tower itself. So we'll go inside one here.
And then you can, once the mushroom is all grown, you can remove the foundation. And,
assuming you can find it.
Right. If it's still sticking out from behind the fungus.
So this is the inside of one of the mushroom towers.
Somebody was asking why are they living in mushrooms? I mean, look at it. Why wouldn't you want to live in there?
Oh man,
cool.
Besides, if you ever get hungry, there's.
What can I do
Nom
for
on the
you?
walls.
Well met.
And then this
Welcome
is also one
to
of
the
our
bloated
other
float.
significant characters.
She's the finest inn on the water in all Cyrodiil.
In Morrowind, she's basically the main character of the Telvanni
Blasted
storyline,
thief.
because what we did
I hope
is
they
we had
string him up when
so
they
many
catch
different
him.
factions that we
He's a
wanted to
slippery
tell,
one,
kind
though.
of describe, and they're all
The
kind of very
beggars
different
are
from
his
each other.
eyes and ears.
That we, for several of them,
I don't know that
Redoran,
anyone in Cyrodiil
Morakong,
drives a
and
harder
Telvanni,
bargain than
we really
Paliniri
created
at
a
divine
whole storyline
elegance.
for each one of them. And so this is Sun and Shadow. And she's an
Farewell.
Argonian slave when you first meet her, which is what you're doing right now. And so the Telvanni storyline is all about her, and I'm not even going to reveal anything about that at that point.
Yes, but
Somebody help!
as a general
Come quickly.
theme, the
We've got a
Telvanni, of
burglar.
course, are the great house of the Dark Elves that did not join the Ebonheart Pact. They are
Well met.
just
Welcome to
too
the bloated.
too ornery to join in with something like that. And so in their areas, in the parts of Vardenfell that are administered by the
treacherous little
Telvanni,
filch.
slavery is still
How
entirely
dare
legal,
put that
unlike in the rest of the
Somebody
Pact,
help.
where it's
Come
mostly
quickly.
illegal.
Somebody help.
And so you just can't avoid
You
the subject of slavery if you're talking about the
Guards!
Telvanni and their area.
Guards!
So we just take it right
that
on
back.
with the main quest line here
Put
with
that
Sun and
back.
Shadow.
So chat was
Thief!
asking, what is
You
it with
won't-
Telvanni and
You
mushrooms? Like,
treacherous little filcher!
why do they like
How
them so much?
dare
Why are
you
they
steal
living in
from
them?
me?
What's the deal?
Stop!
Have you looked at the terrain around outside here?
I guess
They don't
really
have
much of a
trees.
choice.
Yeah, I guess those
so
are their
there's-
versions of trees. Huh?
There's no lumber, right? So
Hey,
this is your
put
construction
that
material.
back.
Stop right there. Look
You
at that the
treacherous
Telvanni
little-
guard.
Stop!
Let's
Thief!
close and look at his helmet. His helmet is shaped like the top of a mushroom. They revel in it. They are the mushroom guys,
Hey,
and they're
that's
not sorry.
mine! Guards!
So
Guards! Guards! I'm
it's
being
mushrooms
robbed.
all the way down with the Telvanni.
And really, it is. These giant mushrooms are the material they have to work with, and so
Stop!
mushroom
Thief!
lumber isn't really a thing.
You
But
won't get away with
on the
this!
other hand, mushroom spores. You can gather them, and then you can, your Telvanni mage, you can figure out how to get them to do what you want them to do.
Somebody help! Come quick!
Cool.
Put
They
that
grow
back,
all around
you
the towers.
worthless thief! Stop! Thief!
So yeah, there's a really significant and pretty, probably the most important mushroom forest, fungal forest of Morrowind in our period is on over the northern end of Azura's coast, right opposite the Grey's Lands, which is where Sadrith Mara is.
Yeah.
What?
So now let's go over to Aldrune.
Watch for minotaurs in the forest.
The
Aggressive
Aldrune,
beasts.
in
They'll
this
tear
period
right
is
through
not
your
yet
armor, too.
The Redoran town that it will be at the time of Test 3. It's still a major gathering place of the Ashlander tribes. This is where they get together to trade and conduct their intertribal discussions. And they're, of course, an outsider folk, not Outlander. Outlander's you. They're an outsider folk from the Great Houses because they refused to give up worshiping the good Daedra and still worship Mephala, Boethia, and Azura, and do not worship the Tribunal. So the Great Houses are often at odds with them. But
There's not a lot of love lost between the two.
So their armor style is pretty unique. They're fully covered.
uh-oh.
So this is one of the other principal characters that, and she's an Ashlander that you will deal with in the main storyline. And at this particular moment, something moderately dramatic is happening here.
She's been
needs a copy
possessed
of
by
the
a
Black Horse
Daedric
Courier.
prince.
Oh, that can never go bad.
Yeah,
What could possibly go wrong?
yeah. So obviously she's having a good time, and she'll be.
She'll be better.
Yes. See, she said that was exhilarating. I think.
I love how the guards are walking around.
Things
Like,
get
oh, this
No
is
big deal.
normal. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this happens all the time.
Nothing to see here.
Look,
But the other thing is, if you remember from Test 3, the Redoran had this great crab mansion place, Scar, and they didn't build it, and so this is the early version of that location. And so, what's the history on Scar?
Scar is the last of the giant emperor crabs that once infested
Well,
Morrowind
now,
when the
what
elves
do we
first came
have
here
here?
back in the
Caught
Dawn
in the
era.
act and no gold
And
to pay your fine.
once again, it's sort of the
confiscating your stolen goods.
the Redoran
Now it's
motto,
off to jail with you.
We didn't build it, we killed it. This is the outer carapace
Hope you
of the
rot,
last of
criminal
those
scum.
kaiju-sized crustaceans that once stalked the ashen plains of Morrowind, and now there's just you can go right inside here.
We're not going to right
but we're not going to do that right now because I keep forgetting we're not doing spoilery stuff.
Yeah, it's questy related, but the Ashlanders use it for a big council hall chamber, and so they have their own use and purpose for it.
Oh, is Saren named after the Tribunal Temple Saint Saren? Somebody just asked.
No,
You have my ear,
it's
sister.
just not that uncommon a name
No
among
talking.
the Dark Elves.
Yeah.
And by the way,
So they have,
Okay.
they have repeating names just like we do.
Prisoners.
So
Just
it's
a
not
friendly
always
reminder.
significant when a name is the same.
And
So with the Ashlander armor, while we're loading here, I noticed they're wearing goggles and they have covers over their mouths. Is that
That's because they mainly inhabit the more wasteland type areas of Morrowind, which are typically on the slopes of Red Mountain. So they have
You
to
don't want
deal
that
with
going on your
they have to deal with the ashes.
they
the
got a lot of
ashfall.
volcanic storm and stuff,
Yes.
so, not real pleasant. And so this
Not
is
pleasant, yes.
our last really major city space. This is, for those who remember Test 3, this is Vivek City. And like, apparently I have this, I'm developing this habit or tradition of doing zones with cities under construction.
Because he did Orsinium. Orsinium
Yep.
reference.
So you can see they are in the process of still building it out at this stage. So we've got lots of, several of the cantons are finished, but we've also then got the foundations for several more that they're building. And then finally the big temple, which I will get to here. Of course, it's a forever run to get there.
So we're running past St. Olms Canton is what we're on now, and St. Felms to the left, crossing over to the Temple Canton, which is run by the Tribunal Temple.
So what does canton
Where we have
mean?
cool statues.
It's just a name for a region here. A very tight little urban region is how the Dark Elves use it.
I would like somebody to make a statue of me somewhere, like that.
Just like that
a
on a
giant
loincloth?
well, not wearing a loincloth, please, but
Well, you're gonna.
I want a giant statue erected of you.
I think somebody needs to Photoshop that.
Oh, okay.
Oh dear God.
And now we're climbing up the many steps.
The many.